So I've been kind of plugging away at trying to start defining a very, very, very key element of this game I'm developing, and that is the play. Now, this is not the most important thing, but it's a key element because the way the play lays out and how it's structured in the database is going to be crucial to how players interact, how they move on the field, the whole kit and caboodle, as they say. Somebody says. I've heard it said. I know it's been said. It's said better be, if not by anybody else, but by me. But so I've been kind of having some discussions with my buddies, various AIs. Right now, this is Claude 3.5. And I'm going to actually I'm going to ask the same question of my other friend, GPT, ChatGPT. Just because I want to get some decent, some decent feedback. Because once I commit to this, that is the direction I'm going. Now, I already kind of laid out what I believe a play is going to be made up of and what each bit and part needs to exist in order for this to happen. I think I've kind of got it laid out pretty decently. But what's going to end up happening is this stuff's going to have to be laid out in some way. So I'm going to take a UI, probably the web, because that's the first thing I have. I've already got stuff set up to do the web stuff. So I don't know fully what, there's features and functionality I'm not even sure. Like here's the thing. Unity is great for like graphics that involve motion, right? I'm curious, do you use Unity if you're doing flat? What about the things that don't have motion, that you're just basically popping stuff up onto the screen? It's flat, it's layered, it's non-motion. I mean, yes, you might want some stuff in there, but I mean, you can get basic motion out of regular code where you don't need to have that. I'm gonna go ask. Okay, so I was asking some football terms. I pretty much knew them, but I just want to make sure that if I'm using a term, I want to kind of make sure I know what it is. I actually changed one term, because I didn't like the way the football term, or at least not the one that Copilot told me. So I went ahead and just said, yeah, I'm doing my own football term. And I was trying to come up with a term for when a wide receiver or a running back or whatever is running a route. And it's a shorter route. Maybe it's only a 10 yard route. Or even if it's a long route, I don't know. It just depends on what happens. But if the quarterback, things kind of get broken up and he can't get the ball to you by the time you've finished your route, what do? I mean, the player has to do something, right? Typically, they just try to find a place that's open so that the quarterback has someone to throw to. They can wait, but that only works for about, a second before the defender's going to come back on you. And then now you're trying to scramble to find a place for him to throw to. So, what is that term? And while one is ad-libbing, I'm like, scramble drill. I get that, but that's too big. Scramble drill's probably good. He's scrambling, trying to find a spot. I'm just going to call it scout. I decided my term is going to be scout, which just basically means look for an open spot. Look for a spot to get the ball thrown to you. Now, obviously, you want your quarterback to make a decision before that time elapses, but you don't always know. Anyway, I was going to check here. In a game app that uses Unity, if you have a page or feature that does not have a lot of motion, if any at all, please still use Unity, or are you using just straight C#? Choice using Unity or just C# for less dynamic pages or features depends on various factors, consistency and integration. If the static page or feature needs to seamlessly integrate with the rest of the app, using Unity might be beneficial. This ensures that the styles, assets, and functions remain consistent across the entire application. So especially for pages with minimal motion, using straight C# with a simple UI framework like Windows could be more efficient. Unity can be overkill for very static content and could lead to unnecessary resource usage. Development speed. If you are already using Unity for the rest of your app, it might be quicker and easier to continue using Unity rather than switching to another framework. Unity is great for handling complex graphics, animations, and interactions. If your static page may eventually require these features, building it in Unity could make feature enhancements easier. Huh. Alright. I was just trying to think. I felt like Unity might be a lot for, like, if you're creating a page that looks pretty flat. You know, is there a situation, you know, where it would be way overkill? It's like, you know, because, like, I want to use Unity for a lot of card interactions and a lot of things that are going on. And it is quite possible that maybe even those flat pages could utilize the Unity engine in some way that's kind of motion. And like it says, what is it? If you think there's any chance that you're going to want to have more motion, more graphical stuff in there at some point, as you're upgrading and upgrading, might just be a good idea to go with Unity, and then eventually you just start adding some motion just as you get ideas and ways to enhance and improve that. I can kind of see that. So, okay, I'll probably go with Unity all the way through. And I gotta say, Unity is the what do they call it? The elephant in the room. And it's only because everything I've done so far has been an elephant, right? I mean, when I started this, I was working with React, which was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get to this detail level of React? I got to the point where I got to know it pretty good, where I'm not really intimidated by it anymore. So that elephant is now turned into, you know, a little more than, you know, a mouse. I can figure it out. Now, and then there was, you know, trying to get other things. Go. Well, I don't know Go, but I'm not intimidated by it anymore. I'm working in it. I'm doing stuff. I've got stuff working. Things are starting to make sense to me in Go. That was the elephant in the room I was working with before. And then there's things like getting Docker working. That was a whole nother elephant in the room. I never even heard of Docker until a few weeks ago. No, that's not true. I've heard of it. I didn't know what it was or how it worked or what it did. So I was like, okay, that's another elephant in the room. What does it do? And I started going, all right. So I started going through the steps and the process, installing, blah, blah, blah. And now I've got a Docker test going. You know, I can run my Docker application, as you could probably see here if I turn it on. Do I even have it open? I don't even have it running. Wait, I do have it running. Where is it? Okay, maybe I closed it. Let's go here. Oh, that's right. So this is and it loads really fast, which is cool. This is my Docker application in its current state, right? So I know that my coaching profiles don't work because I don't have any data in that database. Because apparently, when you create the Docker instance, it doesn't take the data with it. It just, you know, it's fresh. So you got to recreate. Oops. Hold on. Don't know what's going on with my. Here we go. So anyway, yeah, it doesn't have my data in it, so I can't run the coaching profile yet. Trying to figure out the best way to do that. I think at some point I might need my. How do I set up a static database for the Docker integration. That's a thing. Because I don't want to have to keep rebuilding my database every time. I mean, if I'm working with data and I want it to... I might want to figure that one out. But anyway, I don't need to do it right now. Let's see if my game sim will work. All right, Denver already got whooped by Cincinnati, so that's a thing. Okay, so yeah, that's running now. Okay, so let's make this a little bit more friendly on the screen, though. I know it's not terribly readable, but it's more like a visual bonus. That's all it is. So I'm just setting it there to get an idea of what we're working on and where we are with the current application. Though it is misleading, it is really just the UI web portion of the application that we're on. Hold on just a minute. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, there's so I've got Docker going. I've gotten a few different things kind of up and running that until a couple weeks ago, I had no idea what they were. I had never even heard of Go until last month. Until 3 weeks ago. Really, I had never heard of it. I'd seen it. Maybe I guess I've heard of it, but I didn't know what it was. I mean, I just seen, you see all these things and they'd list everything and Go would be there. And I'd be like, I don't know what that is. I don't care what you do. It's like, and then all of a sudden I'm starting to hear, this is the thing to use. This is what everybody uses. Blah, 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 blah. It's real common. Like, all right, let's do Go. It's like, bam. So now I'm doing Go. And I'm not intimidated by it anymore as I've now started to work with and do the structures. But right now, the big elephant in the room for me is Unity. So I've got to like upload, I've got to like get the Unity engine installed, and I think I had it installed on my other computer. I'll probably wait till at least next week. I'm going to have to start fiddling with that, because at some point in the fairly near future, I want what you see in this React web page to become my Unity app. So that's both. So they both have their thing. I expect that the Unity app will be prettier. That's the end goal plan, right? That the Unity app is going to be prettier. And so, obviously there's a chance that, I've got a fair number of things I've got to try to get working on this. In the meantime, what happened? I guess that's going to have to be... all right. Anyway, so I've got a lot of parts to get in place, and right now my current one, there's 3 major things I have set for January. My January plan. Let me say the January plan. In fact, let's change my title here. Oops, a lot of N's in there. So I have, actually, let's say 4 items for the January plan. 1, I got to get Unity going. So I want to get some basic something of Unity running. I got to get that Android app up. All right, so here it is. I'm actually gonna make this super clear, super planned out. Let's type January 2025. What is the roadmap for this month? So, and again, a lot of it is just going to be kind of, I think I have. architecture, design. I had. Roadmap, quarterly. Well, all right. So let's. Shall we just do quarterly? Can I do a sub page of this one? We'll say this. We'll say sub page. And this one's going to be January. Now I haven't made every month plan, but we are at the beginning of January, so let's go ahead and start working on this plan. What I want to do, expectations for this month. Play. Let's actually go, let's break it down a little bit further. Let's go UI. We're going to go 1. Play creation, which is going to entail container, DB, container. What do we want? We want the Go service. We want to be able to load /save. We're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to go with the React page and load /save. Now that's gonna be tricky. That's a lot right there. The load /save, because it's gonna be creating the container, creating the service. Those things kind of have a flow to them. They're going to be just identifying the structure, how we're going to do it. But then I got to load it and save it. Now that's actually loading it probably won't be that bad. But the saving, how much interaction are we going to be able to do yet, right? So I got to figure out, in order to load it and save it, what is it going to look like in the UI? That's the thing. How do we make it? What is the visual of that? And this is going to be these, a lot of this React page part this is probably the hardest part right here. Design, planning, structure. How's that going to work? Okay, so the other thing I like to do, functionally speaking, is coach. Well, no, let's go not UI, let's go function. Now function, we're going to do, if there's more than one piece, I'll just say a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 also. We're going to say the coach component. This is read game situations. Select a play for simulation. That's for this month. That's really all I want to do. I want to read the game situation, and based on the game situations that we have defined, I want to select a play for simulating, and probably create. How do I want to do that? I don't want to spend too much time in defining what React is going to do with that play, because again, it would just creating random numbers, right? Because I'm just right now, React is just running random numbers for the simulation. And until we're actually generating real life numbers, I don't really want to change what we're doing, but maybe I can align /group play random play selections to play types This way, if you pick a run, it'll pick a run. But if you pick it's just going to be a run. But if you pick like a medium pass or a long pass, it will pick from those sections. Now, the plays could be a lot more detailed, a lot more stuff going on. But for the sake of this basic React simulation, I don't want to get into the weeds there, because that means creating random numbers for all those situations. You know, like having a white or a left or have different things, and they all have their own randomizations. And I really need that, because they're random numbers anyway, so who cares? The only difference is I might have a selection of, right now, the pass is a random number, could be anything. It could be a short, a medium, a long. Well, if now I want to attach it to the coach component that says, well, in this situation, we're going to run a medium pass or a long pass. Now, each play has a play type, so they're all going to be short, medium, long, and even the runs might have runs are runs. There is no other kind of run. You could maybe have, I do have a section or type that could be like a trick, or it's not really trick plays. I don't think they're called trick plays. Razzle dazzle, no, that's not it either. But they have another phrase, and I haven't quite got it in my head. I'll probably have to look it up. But ultimately, they're more complicated plays, right? Gimmick plays that have a higher risk to reward scenario. I mean, usually those plays are good for 10, 15, 20 or more yards if they succeed. But they're generally meant to try to pull off the defense or whatever. So now for like defense, I don't really have any conditions in the simulator for defense right now. But I might still have my code smart enough to say, well, at least go get the defense. And I don't think I'm gonna change the randomizations. I don't want to do that. I could put stuff in that says, okay, well, if the defense comes in with a prevent defense, then maybe give you a better odds of short passes, but a long pass is going to be lower odds. Where I could tweak that stuff. It would make my simulator a little bit more accurate, but in the end, who cares? It's all going to get thrown out the door. I'm going to throw all that stuff out because it's just random numbers. So I'm just trying to get it so it's at least taking in that information, and then utilizes it with the information it already has. And in time, the next thing will be integrating player execution, which I want to start, which I'm going to be doing as well. These aren't the order in which I'm going to attack these things, but these are all the things that I want to do in January. So let's go up here. Create Unity. Actually, not setup, but project. And that's going to entail, I think I have to start over with my installation. It's either going to have to be everything. So it'll be install. I already had it installed, but because my computer's in the shop and it ain't going to come back till next week, we won't be doing that. Install, setup project, run through, application, setup. Now, some of these things could take days, not weeks. Hey, by the way, in case you're curious, I am in a play. I'm an actor. No, it's a very small production, and the play is only 3 nights, and it's at the end of this month. But so if you happen to be in the Seattle area, check out Applause Studios. You can go watch me in my part. I'm playing Edgius in Midsummer's Night's Dream. Midsummer's Night Dream. Yeah. A Midsummer's Night Dream. Summer's Night Dream. It's in the mid of summer. I'm always trying to understand how that's meant to sound. So it is a apostrophe, so it does own. It's a Midsummer's Night Dream. So apparently this all happens at night. I guess. Anyway, and then there's an audition the week after for me to go do another play, which I'm actually excited about because it's a horror movie. That's an old 1959 movie with Vincent Price, and I want his part. Now, granted, I'm doing a part in this show, Edgius, that has like 5 minutes of time in the play out of out of 90 minutes. I've got about 5 minutes. And my biggest part is in the first 5 minutes of the play. So I have one like monologue-y thing, and then that's it. I got some smaller chunks of lines here and there, but they're little, a couple of rants. But that's it. But it's fun, and I think I'm ready. I think I want to take on something media. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to get it. I'm just going to try out for it. So I want to watch the movie. I'm going to try to watch the movie this month. It's called A Night on Haunted Hill, something like that. But I'm going to look it up. I looked it up, and it's on YouTube. I think you can watch it on YouTube. So I don't even know what his part is. I just know it's Vincent Price, and I'm like, dude, I want Vincent Price's part. I don't care what he's doing, but I want his part. I don't know. Do I look like a Vincent Price? From Thriller. Yeah. Anyway, that's another digression. So let's go ahead and close this. So other things I want to do for this month, we have the coach component, which I want to get going, the function, and the other thing is, of course, I got to get, I got to start working on player execution. Player execution. Player. How about play execution? Execution / player interaction. This is the hard part. This is the thing that's going to be an interesting. I've been studying different ways to approach this, how to make my plays all happen. There's a lot of stuff that happens at once. I did get some ideas though, so I've kind of got an idea of what's going on. I'm curious at the frequency at which you like. Because if you're running a simulation and there's no UI, like say for example somebody says, just simulate the game. Well, the whole game has to be simulated. I'm not going to do one of those get a random score between X and Y and there's no stats. No, if you simulate the game will completely run every single play, recording every single stat. And you can just study the stats later if you want to, if you don't want to watch the game. That's boring, but I could see me personally, if I had a game like this that I enjoyed enough, I would turn on my phone, start the simulation, and set it in the corner. just watch it like a real football game, because I'd have players running on the field. It'd be popping up, showing the play selections, and I'd be able to go, no! Why did you pick that play? I gotta fix the game plan after this game. Kind of come up with a way to say, I gotta go talk to the coach. Coach is making stupid calls. But it's only going to show you the plays your team calls, though. It's not going to show you the other team's calls. I mean, duh. Now, if the other person's watching, if you are playing against another person's team, and you're running the simulation. Now, my thought is it possible I don't know why I'm putting gum in my mouth. I don't need it. Nobody wants to see me chewing gum on online. I'll spit it out in a minute. But is it possible to rerun it? Nah. Short of recording a game, which would be a ton of... Maybe I would. Huh. You know what? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but maybe like for 24 hours, a game will be available. Because the way I want to do leagues with actual people is sim days, frequency of games can be set by the league. The league owner or whoever the league creator. It might be daily, it might be every 2 days, maybe 3 days. But you wouldn't just run them all day long. You wouldn't run a league and say, okay, let's do a league, and then bam, it's over in a day. Because for one, that doesn't give people enough time to... I mean, I guess you could. Run a one-day league. That'd be 18 hours, though, if you did, like, if you ran a game every hour. That would be really fast. And then, well, you have to be up all night. That might be interesting, though, huh? To have a speed league, where if you wanted to zip through a league really fast, you could get some friends. Say, all right, let's do a league, and we'll do it over the weekend. And it goes Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or something. Because then you'd have like maybe 6 games a day, every 2 hours or something, starting at 11 or starting at 10 or whatever. Maybe every 90 minutes, whatever you want. And then you play the game, you guys go adjust your game plan, you do your training, your drafting, whatever you want for the day. It allows you to keep moving if you like the game. You can just go through and make all your adjustments, and you say, all right, game starts in 5 minutes, and then all the week's games get simulated. And you can watch the games. Now, in that scenario, you would not be able to control, you would not be allowed to control games with other players because they'd just be too fast. You'd screw up the whole routing. I mean, because you'd be running a full game and it could take you an hour and a half just to run a game. Because a game would take a while. You got to pick your plays, you got to execute and pick a play, execute it. And unless you're going super fast, you're probably at least an hour, if not more. And then you're not going to have any time for your practice week. So you'd run your plays and you'd be like, gosh dang. But maybe it's like every 90 minutes post game, because if you're watching the games, even if the game is simulating live, it's still going to take. I'd probably say still probably take 20 minutes. I think that what they said, there's 18 minutes of gameplay. So it'd probably take 20, 25 minutes to run a game. So you'd have 1 hour before the next week runs. That'd be fun, though. Have a full, like a weekend. So you could play a weekend's worth of game, over the weekend you play an entire league. And you can place bets and whatever you want with your friends. I mean, the game will not allow gambling. No, I'm not doing that. But you can gamble all you want with your friends. But yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Anyway, so let's go over to my design here. What was, proposed. Proposed. In fact, I have, let's open up my programming. All right. Well, I'm being summoned away, and I'll probably be away for 10 minutes. Dang. So I'm gonna stop. But I will be back. I will be back. I have definitely got to get working. I'm going to continue working on this game plan or playbook. So this will just be the that's my January plan, as you saw there. I am expecting to complete, or at least have, my January plan is play creation, create Unity project, install setup, and kind of get a basic application going for this game. Start working on the coach component, which is actually going to call in the game situations that we load, since we've already got game situations being able to be created. Then we'll start working on the play creation, which is going to be a big piece, probably significant, because this generating the designing the layout and the play for the React page. At another point, maybe even as early as next month, possibly even late this month, depending on how these other items go, I might want to start working on the UI for these very same service functions that already exist in React. So start laying out how that stuff works and start being able to pull data into the Unity project to start implementing an Android AI. Now, I might have help in the Unity sector, so once I create this Unity project, I might be working with that person. I don't know how much, but I hope to. And that's it. Other than that, we got to start this. That's a big one right there. That's going to be a major step. That could take up a good chunk of the month, and I don't even know that it's going to get finished, but at least we'll get working on it. It might be a multi-month project to get that fully working. But if we get it at least 1 or 2 players functioning, that's something, and we're making progress. So yeah, that's January. So until my next stop, which will be shortly, I'm going to go assist with something.